We cater to like the metro area, so New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, like those areas. So the first thing that people see when they come here is nature. I mean, we're just surrounded by trees. There's deer walking out there behind us right now. There's not cars buzzing up and down the highway. So it's a really calm, relaxing, serene environment. And we incorporate our food with that as well into the season. So whenever we plan the menus, what I usually do is I write down a list of the available produce for that season. And we look at that list and I say, okay, what can we do with this item? Food was always a very important part of our family. My grandmother was great. She always canned and made her own jams and jellies. My mom, she had to be a good cook with 7 kids to feed, so it was very supportive. And she was always showing me and let me, get in the kitchen and make cookies with her. And my mom still makes cookies today. I play ice hockey, and she comes to my games a lot, and she'll bring cookies, like for myself and for the team. In high school, I was a nerd, so I went to every AP class and like Science Olympiad and all that stuff. And I got a part-time job working at an Italian restaurant down in Exeter, Pennsylvania. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. I was on my feet, moving around, busy, hustle, bustle, and just kind of bit me from there. I grew up in the Poconos and like down in Wyoming Valley area. But we did have a summer cabin in the Poconos, and we spent our summers there. And I just love it. I love the outdoors. I hunt, I fish, I mountain bike. I went to culinary school in Pittsburgh, and I enjoyed my time there, but it just showed me that the city was not for me. So I started my externship out of culinary school at Skytop Lodge, which is right here in the Poconos. I was there for a few years. I worked my way up to PM supervisor, and I just felt at the time that I didn't have much more growth immediately, and I was young and hungry, so I wanted to, really get into a more of a chef role. So I left there and I opened up a restaurant with a gentleman in New Jersey. It was called Elias. It was a good experience, but I was too young. Bit off a little bit more than I could chew. I stayed there for about a year. I just worked way too much, which this business will do to you. So I kind of took a step back from that, and then I got a job in Harrisburg at the Crown Plaza. And then after that, I went back to Skytop as an executive sous chef, and I stayed there for, I think, 6 years. I was there as an executive sous. And then, moving into Tree, there wasn't as many places as there is right now in the Poconos to go work at. The Lodge at Woodloch, and Woodloch in general as a whole, was just a place that had a really good reputation. When I started at Tree, our direction here is really to put out a high-end, but yet familiar meal for people. We want to incorporate a lot of local products. We do have a farm on property, so we do have hyper-local, which is kind of cool. I mean, where do you get to really work that? You have something that you grow right on your own property. So we do focus a lot on vegetable cookery and just alternative methods to making, something that might have been classically not as healthy as it could be, with adding cream and butter and different kinds of things to ingredients. Back in the day, it was always use a roux to thicken things. I just use vegetables to thicken everything now. Even mac and cheese sauce, like I don't use milk as my base, I use cauliflower and potatoes. So our Blackmore Farm signature salad is a great way to showcase multiple things that we get from our farm. The salad dressing is a vegan, really healthy salad dressing. So, your typical salad dressing uses oil as the base, and then you put some kind of other acid in there to give it flavor. I'm making a cashew orange vinaigrette, which instead of using oil, we're using cashews as the fat component of the salad dressing. And that's the only fat that's in it. There's no added oil, so it's just orange juice, cashews, a little bit of salt and pepper, and a little champagne vinegar. And our farmers down there, they call themselves pharmacists because the way they treat the soil with like it's a part of the ingredient, which it really is. Taking care of the soil down there adds so much nutritional value to the food that we get at the farm. And they produce about, I would say, 95% of the greens that we use for the year. So any of our mixed salad greens that we use, almost all of it comes from our farm. Now we are a big property and the farm is only a limited amount of space, so we can't get 100% of our produce from down there, but they do produce a lot. We also got kohlrabi, many different kinds of radishes, carrots, herbs, over the summer, zucchinis, cucumbers, melons, winter squashes, all kinds of stuff. It's great. There's a lot of misconceptions about farm-raised fish, and we use an open ocean pen farm-raised Scottish salmon. It's so good. I'm not even a fish eater, and I like this salmon. You get the benefits of it being in the ocean and not the negative side of like if it was a landlocked, because you get the micronutrients from the ocean that the fish can still be a part of, but yet being pen raised, we can control what the fish eat. So the teriyaki glazed salmon, I make my own teriyaki sauce. You know, it's very simple, just soy sauce, a sugar, a little bit of cornstarch to thicken up, some garlic, ginger, and shallots. Just let that simmer for a while, tighten it up, strain out the garlic, ginger, shallots. I baste the salmon, grill it on the grill so you get a little bit of char on there because that char, it gives it some good flavor. We just do lotus root chips as kind of a garnish on there, give a good little crunch to it, and then top it with yuzu furikake. And then we're serving it with some bamboo rice. And then we just serve it with, again, some really nice fresh vegetables, baby thumbelina carrots, romanesco, you know, baby bok choy, just a lot of different other vegetables that we add to the plate. So, you know, we try and source the best products we can. So our sea bass is MSC certified, which is a Marine Stewardship Council. You know, and then with the pepper lacquer, one of my chefs from Skytop that I worked with, we had that on our menu back in the day, and everybody just loves it. The caramelized sugar, you know, kind of gives a little bitterness to the sweet butteriness of the fish. When I'm working with that sea bass and the pepper lacquer, the most important part is when we're searing the fish. You just dab the fish in a mixture of cracked black pepper and white sugar, and just let it sit for a moment or two to get a little layer of that sugar attached to the moisture on the fish. And then we pan sear it. And the trick is to really watch the fish. And as it's cooking, the caramelized sugar is going to start to come out from underneath the fish, and you want to move the fish back on top of that caramelizing sugar and keep doing that and swirling it, and it gets a really nice shine on the fish. And then with all of our dishes, we try and incorporate, because we are a spa, as much vegetable content as we can in there. So, you know, the sea bass is the star of the plate, but then we also serve it with a carrot puree, which is 100% vegan, and you know, just a lot of other fresh vegetables. And then to balance out the butteriness of the fish, we top it with a little bit of finger lime pearls. So our food rep at Buckhead, Hunter, he introduced me to this Tajima Wagyu he said he was bringing in. And I've used Wagyu beef before. I've even used A5 Wagyu. And this Tajima Wagyu is so good. It has a 7 to 8 fat score. Just simple, again, salt, pepper, a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Pan sear it golden brown. We always pan sear the Wagyu. I don't like to cook it on a grill because I feel because of the fat content, it tends to flare up and gets a little like carbon buildup on the outside of it, which can really alter the taste of the meat. And you don't want to mask that nice beef flavor and the butteriness of the fat in there. And then just, you know, depending on what the temperature is, we may have to finish in the oven. If you know, if somebody's asking for a rare, we'll just finish it right in the pan. So the miso glazed Hasselback turnip is, again, one of those things where, you know, our farmers grew turnips, and we're like, we have hundreds of pounds of them. So we took the turnip, cut it into the Hasselback, which is just slices down like about 3/4 way through. We just boil it till it's almost all the way done. Finish in the oven with a miso glaze, just made in-house. We use white miso paste, a little tiny bit of soy sauce. I like in there because it gives a little bit of saltiness, mirin, sake, and sugar. Just let that cook down till it's thick. And then we brush that on top of the Hasselback turnip and then pop that in the oven and roast it till it's nice and caramelized and golden brown on the outside. And then after we take it out is really where the magic happens, because we just stick whatever I have back there. I mean, baby corn, roasted thumbelina carrots, lotus root, cipollini onions, top it with furikake, toasted cashews, and just put all over top of it. I mean, it looks really cool. Whenever I have a guest here, you know, I want them to look forward to coming back again. I want them to say, man, that was a really good meal, but I don't feel like I ate a ton of cheese or a ton of butter or a ton of I don't feel heavy, I feel light, I feel good, I feel healthy. I want them to leave feeling like they didn't just eat here, they gained something. They gained some health, they gained some nutrition, they gained a knowledge of another way to maybe cook a soup or a salad or a sauce or a side and make it a little bit healthier and take that home with them as well. My father and family, we were just very raised to like be the best and just do the best that you can do. You know, if I got 100 on a test, he'd be like, wasn't there extra credit? You know, it's like, so there was always that push to just do a little bit better. And I feel like I approach everything I do whether it's breaking down a chicken or cutting vegetables, I always push myself to say, did I do that the best I can? Can I do it better? You know, did I brunoise those carrots, you know, uniform enough? You know, did I break down that chicken in 34 seconds instead of 35 seconds? You know, I kind of just always am, you know, self-motivating and push myself to just do a little bit better.